Liberation greetings to all and sundry. Liberation greetings to all the people of the southern Cameroons, to all the people of Ambazonia. Liberation greetings to all followers and supporters of the southern Cameroons of the Ambazonian cause across the world. Today is Sunday, and this Sunday is March 27, and the year is 2022. My people, I come today with salutations, with greetings. I come today with a message of goodwill and a message of hope to urge us all once more to understand the importance of this liberation movement. My people, once more, I want to draw the attention of all and sundry to the very important truth. That truth is that whether we like it or not, the train we are in is on the rails and it is moving. And because this train is moving, it definitely will attain its destination. It will arrive its destination one way or the other. The only thing we have to do is to continue to ensure that this train is not derailed. But one big message I have for us all today is this very important understanding of the fact that there is just one thing that we have to keep thinking about from left to right, north, south, in whatever we do. We must recognize that by the time this movement was ignited, it was never meant to stop before we attain our objective. My people of the southern Cameroons, my people of Ambazonia, the enterprise we find ourselves in is a risky enterprise. It can lead to death. It can lead to imprisonment. It can lead to loss of everything you own. It can lead to loss even of, the greatest ideals you've ever held personal, but which don't tie with now what is called the collective wish of the people of the southern Cameroons, of the people of Ambazonia for freedom. But one thing is certain, these losses will result in one big thing, and that big thing is freedom. Because when we begin by achieving this freedom, independence flows, and this independence will be real independence, not the tainted kind of independence, not the independence with strings that our neighbors have and continue to ask themselves questions by day and by night what they have been able to do with their independence about 60 years after it was given to them. Given. This is the key word, given. Real independence is not given. Real independence is seized. It is taken. Real independence is squeezed out of the oppressor. And that is what we are after. My people, like I said earlier, this venture in which we find ourselves is risky. Like every other risky venture, it has its ups and downs. Moments we will bargain that everything is going to be fine and then they get fine, and moments we will bargain that things are going to be rough and they rather get better. My people, in this movement since 2016, we have had ups and down moments. And during the up moments, we revel. During the down moments, what do? We sit down, we think, we make sure we go back to the drawing board in several areas. We rethink our strategies and then we re-emerge. And during these down moments, you always find La République du Cameroun so much in a haste to claim victory, so much in a haste to celebrate, so much in a haste to say everything is over. And when they do, some of the weaker minds among us begin saying, perhaps it were better to go back and, be slaves once more than to continue in this risky business of attaining freedom, because it is risky. Let me share this thought that I shared before. And because it's been a while that I had this exchange with, my people, I like us to go to revisit it, which says, if you don't take risks, you will always work for someone who does. If you don't take risks, you always work for someone who does. Engaging in a venture to keep us in perpetual slavery for life is a risky venture La République du Cameroun took. Embracing assimilation When we decided to join them, because we were forced to, because that seemed to be the only thing on offer at the time, and then we came to some agreements, when they decided to start violating those agreements one after the other, it was a risky venture. But their feeling was that if you don't take the risk, you are not certain if you will make profit. And the gain in this whole thing is that while they were marching, we were simply grumbling and doing nothing. And so they kept advancing. They kept advancing. They kept advancing until at one point, they almost thought that they had succeeded. Of course, we heard Mr. Biya say so in France. It was a risky venture. All of life is about risk. Fighting, therefore, to restore our independence or to secure our freedom is a risk, but it is an important risk that we must take if we hope to leave a free and independent Southern Cameroons to posterity, to Southern Cameroonians yet born, and those who will come generations upon generations after us. So they know that some people lived before them who were conscious of the fact that others were coming and that we were able to leave our names on the sands of times. My people of the Southern Cameroons, I know that they are planning to imprison many more of our people, but we must keep moving. I know that La République du Cameroon plans to visit Carnage, far more stronger Carnage than we have seen on our people, but we must keep moving. I know that La République du Cameroon is planning to lay ambush and decimate so many more young people of the Southern Cameroons like they did on the 3 young men in Mendankwe recently in the hopes of stopping us. But my people, we must keep moving. I know La République du Cameroon will multiply cliché upon cliché and use all kinds of diplomatic cable to try to bring discouragement in the minds of the weaker ones among us so that they will erode our desire to get to freedom. But my people, we must keep moving. I know that La République du Cameroon will continue to use their agents planted within our midst to sow greater divide so that we have about all of our groups imploding into several splinters in the hope that we will self-destroy, that we will implode. But my people, we must believe in what we are fighting for, and of course we must keep moving. I know that La République du Cameroon will do much more by bringing a lot of suffering on our people, like we are seeing the cholera in Limbe caused deliberately by the poisoning of waters in other ways. But my people, we must keep moving. We have all watched the gory image of a young man being pulled out of the water catchment area. That is what I mean by poisoning. And that is, his body has been in there for days. And yet people were downstream drinking this water. That, oh my people of the Southern Cameroons, this kind of things are going to be multiplied. All in the hopes of weakening us. All in the hopes of stopping our dream. But we must keep moving. We must keep moving, my people of the Southern Cameroons, because the fundamental truth that all need to know is that Southern Cameroons must be free. This is a sacrosanct truth. This is a sacred truth that we must begin to tell not only ourselves, we must begin to tell our neighbors, we must begin to tell it to our children, we must begin to tell it to those bought over elite who think they are protecting some kind of cynical positions when they come to tell us that we and what we are believing in is a pipe dream. We must tell them that the basic truth, the secret truth is that Southern Cameroon, is that Ambazonia will be free, whether they like it or not. My people of the Southern Cameroons, there are some truth in life so dear that we must hang on. And this is a vocation I have taken. To hang by this, to love truth even if it hurts, and hate lies even if they help you. Why do I keep bringing this African proverb? For us to share that you should love truth even if it hurts you, and hate lies even if they help you. My people, the reason is simple. Very simple. Because the lie that Ambazonia, Southern Cameroons, is one with La République du Cameroon in a certain one and indivisible remains a lie, because it has never been the truth. It is a lie. And no matter how many times that lie is told, it will keep ringing like in a hollow. Today, I was just going through Twitter, and behold, my eyes fell on something. It was a response from one Ellie Smith on a tweet I sent out, and he said, the people of the southern Cameroons, the people of Ambazonia, voted in a plebiscite to achieve independence by unification with La République du Cameroon. And I asked a simple question. I asked him that question on Twitter. You can flock there, check it out, and make your voice heard. But I want to bring back the question here, because this is a question you must ask all those demagogues when they come selling or peddling those lies before you. If on February 11, 1961, we actually did vote to achieve independence by unification, mark the word, by unification, and this was February 11, 1961, why then did the United Nations General Assembly hold a vote for the independence of Southern Cameroons 2 months plus after, that is on April 21, 1961? Why was that vote necessary? And if we actually voted on February 11, that's much earlier, to achieve independence by unification with La République du Cameroun, why did La République du Cameroun, led by France and all Francophone African countries, with the exception of Mali, vote against the independence of the Southern Cameroons, which of course, according to Ellie Smith, was already secured by unification? And if La République du Cameroun believed in that unification, my people of the Southern Cameroons, we can't read our history backwards. And we can't let people with little knowledge of what our history is to try and confuse our heads. We can't let people who know the truth but decide to peddle lies because they make benefits out of those lies to continue to confuse us. My people of the Southern Cameroons, when you know the truth, that truth will set you free. The basic truth is that La République du Cameroun voted against independence of Southern Cameroons and actively did campaign with France against the yes vote for the independence of the Southern Cameroons because they already had this assimilation plan cooked. And the simple purpose of that vote was because only independent countries get into treaties. The understanding of the United Nations was that the Southern Cameroons plebiscite of 1961 was a vote of intent. The intent to achieve independence and then join La République du Cameroun in a free federal system. That is what that vote was all about. And that is why, again, it was important that in April 1961, the United Nations General Assembly votes for the independence of the Southern Cameroons to empower the Southern Cameroons, to give us, therefore, the power to now negotiate a treaty of union with La République du Cameroun. A treaty which never saw the light of day, simply because La République du Cameroun had different ideas. And it is this particular vote of April 21, 1961, that La République du Cameroun wants to do everything along with its allies to negate, to undermine, to downplay. My people, I want to take this opportunity before I continue this conversation to extend my heartfelt sympathy to our people in Victoria. I know scores of our people in Victoria have already succumbed to the cholera. I want to extend my heartfelt sympathy to the families that have already been touched. And I also want to extend a hand of fellowship to all and sundry who can help in one way or the other, both with ideas, with messages of encouragement, with even financial and material assistance to all those who are right now infected with that cholera and who are battling with their lives. The Southern Cameroons, the Ambazonian solidarity must be activated because that is who we are. I have heard strange stories of a lot of our people getting to the hospital in Victoria, to the regional hospital in Victoria, to find out that most of the high-ups at that hospital speak mainly French. And that a good lot of the time, the treatment they are given in the land of their birth has not been the best. This is why we are in this fight. This is why we are in this liberation movement. This is why we are seeking freedom. Freedom from that kind of moral and psychological oppression. Freedom from all forms of oppression that we are getting today, that we are witnessing today from La République du Cameroon. My people of the Southern Cameroons, we will attain this freedom. All those who by day and by night continue to manufacture approaches, stories, and try as much as possible to visit us with more pain in the hope that because of the pain, we will abandon our dream of a free Ambazonia, are themselves dreamers. I watched a video. This video was sent to me from Oku, where I saw our mothers, our sisters, our wives, some of them, marching in the streets in protest. I tried to find out exactly what was amidst. In the end, after talking to a lot of stakeholders on the ground there and getting information from the specialized services of the consortium about what was happening there, it was clear that there were some excesses visited on the people by some of those in our midst who say they are our boys. And that the population came out in protest against two specific incidents. And that in the end, they went ahead to collect sticks from the camp that was, not in unison with the people, and favored camps that were working in the interest of the community. Why saying that in a free and independent Southern Cameroons, people will always have the right to go to the streets to protest things they don't like? I must also point out that we should not be oblivious of the fact that La République du Cameroon will continue to want to use every opportunity at their beck and call to bring confusion in our midst and to give the impression to the rest of the world that our people of the Southern Cameroons no longer want freedom. They no longer want independence from La République du Cameroon because our freedom that we're offering, the one on offer, is distasteful. Because I've heard of some people in Ibal Oku in particular, that they had a lot of money that was shared among themselves and did have some celebrations with some detachments of the B of La République du Cameroon where they were planning to have street actions. Although they haven't done that yet, I want to send this message to our people in Oku and everywhere in the Southern Cameroons. Don't allow yourself to be an instrument in the hands of the oppressor who has just one objective: robbing you of your dream of a free, independent, democratic, transparent, and prosperous society. Don't allow yourself to be used to thwart your own same dreams. My people of the Southern Cameroons, my dear people of Ambazonia, I said a while ago, and I want to repeat, that we will win in this liberation movement by promoting truth. That we will win in this liberation movement by standing for that which will advance our cause. We will win in this liberation movement by deciding deliberately to close our eyes to falsehood and to hang on to the sacrosanct truths that will define and continue to, that have defined, will continue to define, and must be made to define our movement. Look at this. Always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. When I say we must be deliberate in our actions, I mean what I'm saying. Because there are a good lot of us that stand by day and by night. We sing morning afternoon, evening, and even contribute heavily financially, that we are supporting the freedom of Ambazonia. But by our every act, by our every act, we are working against the same freedom. I know you are looking at me. You want to ask me how? Before I get to that, let me go back to this message. Our teams have been engaged, seriously engaged over the past 2 weeks, moving from one Fulani community to the other, talking to the people. Because my people of the Southern Cameroon's education is absolutely important. Before I continue to make this appeal, I want to thank heartily those who have already reacted to this appeal this far. This education is as fundamental as anything else that we are doing in this movement. In as much as you are contributing to buy granules, to buy sticks, to buy sugarcane, to buy whatsoever in this movement, if we don't give the kind of education that is needed in the various areas, in the castes where this education is very important, we are going to be slowed down. We are going to be slowed down tremendously, because those who continue to allow themselves to be an instrument in the hands of the oppressor are not only dragging us back, they successfully do give us a bad name in some instances. My people of the Southern Cameroons, we must be able to nip what is about to come right ahead in the buds. Because what La République du Cameroon wants is to create a situation, sit back and watch the Fulani people and our boys tear themselves apart, much to their glory. That contributes in our weakening. That contributes in changing the narrative about our liberation movement to something else. And that is why this education campaign that we are leading is extremely important. Your contribution will help us to finance the movement of all of those who are taking the risk to go from one community to the other to preach this message. Risk because at the same time, in some areas, they are being betrayed back to the B of La République du Cameroon, that these are the people coming to educate us. And so they start living dangerously. Risk because there are some of the Fulani people who have already been so instrumentalized to the point where when our people get there, they face hostility. But despite all this, they are determined to do this job because they, just like us, believe in our dream of a free and independent Southern Cameroons. Make your contribution to help us carry this dream forward, to help us promote and to help us complete this information and sensitization campaign. Never lose sight of the fact that even 2016, 2017, the entire Southern Cameroons or Ambazonian community got brought to the cause. It is because at the consortium we devoted a lot of time first, prior to launching, to talking to the various communities, from meeting house to meeting house, from development association meeting to the other, to ensure that our people understand that they finally did, buy in and agree to follow us in our quest for freedom. This is the same thing we must do each time we find that one section of our community is behind. We have to educate them and bring them up to speed to make sure that we are all speaking the same language and that we are all looking in the same direction. That said, there is this important message I want to put across today. And this message, I know, will hurt some people like real bad. But the truth is, I really, really, honestly wouldn't worry if you throw me stones because I bring this particular message to you. I want to come closer so you look at my eyes as I'm bringing out this message. I said 2 days ago to a group that the illiterates of the Southern Cameroon's liberation movement are abroad, are in the diaspora. That the real illiterates of our movement are based abroad. That is why easily our groups have all become so fragmented. Our groups, movements, and organizations have all become so fragmented today, to the point where you begin asking yourself, what are we doing with all the masters, the bachelors, the PhDs, and all the professorial titles? Oh, yes, you hear professor this, professor that. But when they stand to talk, the language that comes out of their mouths is divisive. That is why gradually today, just look at one of the groups, the IG group. Today, quietly, there are three factions already. You have IG Ayuktabe, IG Marianta, and today you are hearing IG Sako. Listen, this is not a laughing matter. And in each of these ones, in each of these groups, those who are at the helm, those who are talking most at the helm, are PhD holders and are those with titles as professors. People with masters, people with bachelors. Has our education become our curse? Has our too much knowledge, when I put too much knowledge becomes derogatory, has it really become our curse? And in all this, while we are singing day and night, morning, afternoon, evening, independence, freedom, self-determination, listen, we are at the same time shipping containers to La République du Cameroon. Some do this every month. Some ship even 2 to 3 containers to the Douala seaport every month. You ask them, they say, we don't have a seaport yet. You contribute 1,000 to the movement, and then you contribute $30,000 to La République du Cameroon's coffers. What are you doing? Counterproductive. Providing them all the ammunition to descend on our people. You give us change and you give them the substance. My people of the southern Cameroons, we have seen in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine exactly how economic warfare obtains. People have hurt themselves just to boycott Russia. Just to boycott Russia and bring them to their senses. We can't resist the temptation to ship to La République du Cameroon for one moment, yet we're talking independence. How is that contributing in helping us get to where we are going to? If you are among those doing this, you are holding back our struggle and making sure we will be in this for at least 30 to 50 years. This is not the only group. There is yet another group that even as we are talking, they are busy investing in La République du Cameroon. Constructing schools, buying land, building houses. Yet, they are contributing $500 to the movement. Contributing $1,000, contributing $2,000. But by your action, you are making sure you bring speed brakes to the progress of this movement. If you are also involved in this, begin asking yourself questions. Begin asking yourself if you are, first of all, yourself convinced about this whole venture of the freedom of the southern Cameroons. I hate to use this forum to pass this message, but it is important that I make it clear here, because perhaps when it passes on this medium, it could sink better. When you do these things, you're not different from those who get up and instead run to La République du Cameroon. You run away from the bee of La République du Cameroon because they razed your village to ashes and you run into Cameroon. What message are you translating? And then when we sit and watch actors on the international scene come on Twitter and say there is still some Cameroonianness in almost everything we do, we pick offense. We begin attacking the messenger. We forget about the message. We refuse to do an introspection. We refuse to look at ourselves and ask ourselves questions. I said earlier that the biggest truth of all times is that Ambazonia will be free. How soon we get free depends on the actions that we take by day and by night. By doing what you are doing, you will not rob us of this freedom. but you will slow down the pace at which we attain this freedom. My people of the Southern Cameroons, my people of Ambazonia, there are several African countries to which you can ship. Explore other opportunities to do business. Starve La République du Cameroun of the much needed resources they need to stabilize their economy that our brave hearts are doing everything to break down. Sure, we all saw a report that Greenpeace, the international NGO Greenpeace, is at daggers drawn with La République du Cameroun because the Ministry of Forestry of La République du Cameroun is forced to take companies that were granted logging concessions in southern Cameroons and go give the concessions in the east of La République du Cameroun because it is no longer possible for them to exploit these forest concessions in southern Cameroons. This is the economic sabotage of our brave hearts. That is how they have been contributing in bringing La République du Cameroun on its knees. If you haven't seen that report, visit Timescape Magazine. Go to www.timescapemagazine.com. Check it out there. You'll find that report there with serious quotes from even the government itself and others ascertaining that they can't have access, that the logging companies don't have access, don't have guarantees again that they can exploit those concessions in the southern Cameroons. While our brave hearts are starving them of much needed sources of finances to keep using in perpetrating genocidal acts on our people. You are abroad busy shipping containers to La République du Cameroun and giving them an alternative source of income. You are busy buying land in La République du Cameroun, constructing there, and giving them an alternative source of resources. My people of the Southern Cameroons, we must begin to get up from our slumber and start acting as real revolutionaries. We often have left the problem, the real problem, and then we go after the shadow. This is the crux of the matter. If you have had the opportunity to look at the report by some diplomat in Yaoundé and hear what they say, you understand where I'm coming from. Because they say, by and large, apparently, La République du Cameroun is dreaming of an upper hand in the months ahead because they have tried as much as possible to continue to reinforce the Cameroonianness in us. And that they are using the notion of time, like I said here earlier, what they call in French la guerre de l'usure, to weaken our belief in our freedom, to weaken our determination to get free, and to set as much confusion as possible in our midst to weaken our resolve to attain our objective. And what do they quote? They quote a lot of these people, Southern Cameroonians, shipping containers in droves to La République du Cameroun. And the statistics that they give is that this practice is actually on the rise. It's not falling. They quote those who are still buying land. Of course, we saw that some people bought land. I showed video here, someone that bought land, constructed. And by the time he had finished the foundation and was doing the elevation, the people who sold land to him came scattered and told him, "You are Ambazonian. What will you say here?" Nothing you can say. Dispossessed him. Yet we continue. And there are some people right now in North America, in Europe, in Western Europe, still buying land in La République du Cameroun. Even at the time that I'm talking, they are concluding some of these deals. If you are involved in this, know that you are one of the biggest obstacles to our freedom. My people of the Southern Cameroons, this is what I mean by we must talk the talk and walk the walk of freedom. Freedom is not easy. You must deprive yourself of certain things that are so dear if you must attain your lifelong objective. You can't eat your cake and have it. That's not possible. I say you can't eat your cake and have it. My people of Southern Cameroons, my dear people of Ambazonia, it is important for us to begin to reason that we are in this movement because we are running away from an oppressive system that has kept us in bondage for over 60 years and counting. If you must ask yourself the question, why am I in this movement? And you are doubting answers, take a look at this. This is an assessment by La Nouvelle Expression, a French language newspaper in Cameroon, of what that country is 37 years only after that party, that means that Paul Biya created, has been in there. Cameroon in an impasse. Cameroon on life support. Cameroon is a failed country, a failed society. That is why we are running away from it. And one of the corollaries of a failed society is a system where you don't have the notion of separation of powers. You find that while teachers or the medical personnel, and then soon I understand transporters unions are also spoiling for their own strike, to join the teachers and the medical personnel that are already on strike. While all this is going on, La République du Cameroon will not face the issue. They will prefer to face the media houses that appear to be standing tall to speak the truth. And that is why Atanga Ponji unleashed on Equinox radio and television. And as if that was not enough, he instructed the governor of the littoral to issue a clear-cut warning to Equinox not to tell the truth about what is happening anymore. As if saying the truth or concealing it will resolve the problem. This is a community, a country that lives in constant denial. It is that denial that brought us where we are today in this movement. That is a country we must run away from. That is a country we have to do everything we can to run away from. That is not a place to stay at. Just take a look at this. While all that is going on, the President of the Republic, as per this letter issued by the Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, Ferdinand Ngongo, will intervene even in legal matters. Where is the notion of the separation of powers? C'est haute instruction du chef de l'État. And they are just letters that will go right down to a judge of a court of first instance from the presidency. What then is the role of the Prime Minister? Because the Secretary General of the Presidency writes direct to the Minister of Justice, copies the governor of the littoral, copies the concerned court president. But the Prime Minister, who's supposed to be head of government, does not exist anywhere in this whole chain. What arrant nonsense. You call this a country? This is the kind of place that we are running away from, my people of the southern Cameroons. I talked a while ago about cholera in Victoria. You have not heard any noise from the government of Cameroon regarding this cholera outbreak in Victoria. It has not got any serious attention. While this is going on, look at what is happening to some minister there. Is busy doing. While Lupo Motaze is doing that, his counterpart of higher education has not also even taken note that there's any trouble going on with people anywhere. This is what he's doing. That's Professor Jackson. Where the people are suffering under stinking poverty, where the people have potable water to drink and are being contaminated left and right, where there is total suffering everywhere in the country. This is what my people of Ambazonia, my people of the southern Cameroons, that is a country we must dissociate from at all costs. That is a system we must run away from in top speed. And that is why we are in this movement. I bring all these cliches not as a distraction, but just to continue to remind us why we are in this movement. We are in this movement because 1, we need freedom. 2, we need a society in which the people are at the center of every thought and decision. We need a society where the people's development priorities are determined by themselves. We need a society where ministers, those who are supposed to be providing leadership, will not be dancing and chasing titles while the people lack all, even the most basic of amenities. That is the kind of society we must run away from. While they are there dancing and celebrating, look at what is happening. Look at the decay. This video you are seeing, this incident took place in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon. This is an accident that has occurred. It is by the grace of God that the friction did not cause gas to catch fire. But this is gas oozing from a petrol tanker. In every right-thinking society, the people run on top speed. People evacuate the area. There will be a huge alert to get everybody away from the area. But because of the stinking poverty in this community, people are rather coming out with gallons, risking to go right under there where a little spark will charge everybody. Because 1, the people are not simple. Vous pouvez être surpris. This is a legacy. Quel est courageux par te ramasser. This is a society we see. While they are doing all this, while they are facing all this, their ministers are busy collecting titles or dancing Paul Biya all over the place. And that is why, in summary, this gentleman describes what the CPDM system has come to represent in their country. Don't tell me that it doesn't concern us. It does. Listen briefly and I'll interpret.
Créer des structures pour lutter contre la corruption, plus nous avons des corrupteurs patentés et des corrompus avérés. C'est ça le problème. Vous voyez un peu? Attendez, avant qu'on ne crée la NIF, la CONAC, le Consupé, il y avait autant de duplex, d'immeubles à Santa Barbara, à Bastos, ainsi de suite. C'est-à-dire que vous voyez un immeuble à Bastos, à Santa Barbara, on te dit non, c'est un douanier, c'est un douanier. Vous allez de l'autre côté, vous voyez un autre duplex, vraiment, le genre, on te dit non, c'est un cadre des impôts, c'est un cadre des impôts. Et chez nous, ça nous fait plaisir, on est bien habitué. Alors, quel est ce pays, Stéphane Barga, où l'on parle des milliards, comme si nous parlions un tout petit peu du jeu de Ludo. Vous connaissez ce qu'on appelle le jeu de Ludo? C'est-à-dire que vous avez quelques bières là, il y a un petit tableau là, vous tapez une chose là, pang-lang. C'est-à-dire que vous êtes en train de faire des commentaires sur les lions indomptables. On en parle tout à l'heure. Non! Je n'ai jamais vu un pays où le milliard est devenu, on banalise le milliard. Il faudrait que nous rappelions encore rapidement à ceux qui nous regardent ce matin que 1 milliard, c'est 1000 millions. 1 milliard, un seul, ça fait 1000 millions. Si tu as 2, ça fait 2000 millions. Imagine si tu as 10. Alors, quel est ce pays où on vous parle seulement de vol en termes de milliards? C'est-à-dire, j'ai l'impression qu'au Cameroun, lorsqu'on vous amène en justice maintenant, et qu'on dit que non, tu as détourné 10 millions, tu énerves même le magistrat. Il dit, mais ça c'est qui ça? La preuve en est d'ailleurs, et pense que certains sur le plateau l'ont relevé à bon escient, que l'on est allé, on s'est amusé à mettre sur pied une juridiction juste pour les riches. Ah oui, une juridiction pour les riches. C'est-à-dire que pour ceux qui ont quand même volé un peu plus de 50 millions, vous ne devez pas être avec les petits là. Et il vous faut quand même un certain nombre d'égards. Parce que si tu as quand même volé un peu plus de 50 millions, on vous doit du respect. Et voilà pourquoi on vous amène de ce côté. Et quand on vous juge, on ne vous brutalise pas. Et la loi vous dit encore que le ministre de la Justice garde dessous, en cas de restitution du corps du délit, peut vous libérer. Entre-temps, celui qui a volé 2 pains dans une boulangerie de la place et quelques sardines, parce qu'il avait faim, lui va calmement écoper 10 ans d'emprisonnement ferme. Vous pensez que dans ce contexte, on nous dira que le RDPC a apporté la justice? C'est créer des structures pour lutter contre la corruption, plus nous avons des corrupteurs patentés et des corrompus avérés. C'est ça le problème. Vous voyez un peu? Attendez, avant qu'on ne crée la NIF, la CONAC, le Consupé, il y avait autant de duplex, d'immeubles à Santa Barbara, à Bassos, ainsi de suite. C'est-à-dire que vous voyez un immeuble.
So, for those who do not understand French, what this gentleman is saying here, you see, there they are evaluating the 37 years of the CPDM in that country, the Republic of Cameroon. Of course, it covers the period that, we were still under the annexation. I say still because from 2016, we have been kicking them out inch by inch, gradually, and they're getting out gradually, gradually. It's a gradual process, but we're getting there. And so, remember that we were there under the banner of rigor and moralization. Rigor and moralization. And that is the same thing that they try to force on us by telling our people that don't listen to, they refer to us as adventurers who want to take you away from a wonderful system put in place by a prince in quote of peace. My people, this gentleman just painted there a picture of the most morally bankrupt society that you can ever imagine about in the world. And he says, the more they create institutions claiming these institutions are to address problem, the worse it gets. Oh yes, and he gives an example. By the time they created CONAC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, you did not have as many flamboyant structures constructed by people out of corrupt practices than it is now. And that's the truth, which means the coming into place of CONAC rather accelerated the rate of corruption and embezzlement. So he cites a lot of examples. And then I can take this now into other sectors. Since the beginning of the Southern Cameroon's question, this phase in 2016, what happened? They created something called the Bilingualism Commission. Since after creating that Bilingualism Commission, I'm sure the effort at bilingualism got the more dampened, the more trampled upon in that country. They created several commissions claiming that these commissions were meant to address these problems. But the situation of the Southern Cameroonian in that triangle has never been worse than it is now. You want to evaluate? It is worse now than it was in 2016. So what convinces some of you, therefore, who continue to be trying to look back at Sodom and Gomorrah like Lot's wife did, rather than looking ahead to the promised land, which is Ambazonia? What convinces you that the worsening situations will suddenly turn to a better life? What? Let me tell you, because you may be doubting it. All those who are coming to tell you, no, forget, Ambazonia is a pipe dream, don't be part of this dream. Look, La Republique will give you this, will give you that, Pobia will. Let me tell you why they are doing everything to keep you there. Because Mesanga Nyamding said that. And it's possible a good lot of us didn't take note of it. He said this on Equinox TV. He said, Minister Atanga Ponji is a very calm and friendly person. But it is because he is afraid that President Paul Biya might be knocked out of power that makes him the way he is. We in the ruling party may not accept it in public, but sometimes when I sit quietly, I seriously fear for what might become of me and some of us if ever President Paul Biya left power. Did you hear that? Are you still doubting? Why Atanga Ponji? Why Philemon Yang? Why Elvis Ngole Ngole? Why John Gute? Why Fu Jonathan Mejingni? Why Fu Callistus Gentry? Why all of those people, Ashiri Kilo, why they will come to tell you that staying with our people to come is the best thing that's ever happened to your lives? Are you still doubting? I used to doubt it when Ngala Jared will come and tell you, no, 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 no. Don't ever dream of Paul Biya going. Don't ever dream of Ambazonia. It's a bad thing to think about freedom. It's a bad thing for you to want to live a free life. Continue to live in slavery because slavery is the best posture. Do you think he doesn't know what he's doing? Do you think? Listen to them at your own risks and perils. And Mesanga Nyamdi made it clear. They are concerned about their well-being. They are concerned about their fate. And why are they concerned about their fate? Because they know exactly what they have done to the community. They know exactly how much they have tortured the various communities. They know how much pain they have caused the people of the southern Cameroons. That is why they will not sit down and watch you and I walk into freedom just like that, because they are not assured of being at the helm. They are not assured of being able to obtain the same privileges that they are having now. They are not assured of being protected to enjoy the illicitly or the ill-gotten wealth that they have now. They are not assured of being able to get back a sane society that allows them to excel in demonic practices. They are not assured of all this. This is why my people of the southern Cameroons, they will want to multiply the pain, intensify the pain in our communities by bringing some people, these guys as Samba boys, to continue to wreak havoc on our people, just so that we renege on our quest for freedom, for their personal protection. If you were doubting it, you've heard it from me today, and you've heard it from the lips of Mesanga Nyamdi. My people of the southern Cameroons, I promised to come here to talk about energy and why that Cameroon is not only crumbling, but is on a serious free fall, especially economic-wise. And I'm sorry for the delays in keeping to that promise. It's due to circumstances beyond my control, but I will definitely come to it one of these days. Why not even tomorrow or the day after tomorrow? Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for setting aside time to share with me on this broadcast.